So let's jump right in. Tell me about a challenge that you're facing and what you like help with.
Well, the past few weeks, so like about 2.5 months ago, I started investing a lot of time to building a LinkedIn presence, creating content, building relationships on LinkedIn. And it's created a lot of opportunity. But I have a tough time with like keeping up with the messages, keeping up with comments. And sometimes each day I feel like kind of like a pinball in a pinball machine. I'm like being pulled in all these different ways. You know, I've got a call scheduled, but I really know I want to be focused on just creating one really good piece of video. Maybe I have some client work, but I feel like I'm not, progressing my, future prospects and stuff like that. So I've had this feeling where I feel like a pinball and pinball machine. And I know that when I'm in that feeling, I feel very paralyzed sometimes. And maybe it's only once a week for like a 3 to 4 hour period, but it can be very like crippling during that time, and it doesn't feel good. So that's one thing recently that I've been struggling with, and I'm trying to figure out how to cope with it.
Can we dive into that?
Sure.
Great. So tell me more about the feeling and what you think is causing that. And I know you had, what I heard you say is that you feel like a pinball, and tell me more about that.
Well,
what do you think is causing the feeling itself?
I think I'm being pulled in a bunch of directions, and maybe I'm not prioritizing certain tasks during that time. I usually try to sit down and take 15 minutes just to plan when I feel that. And sometimes though I find I spend too much time planning and not enough time doing when I have that feeling. The fact that I feel like I have to do so much makes me do nothing for that 3 to 4 hour period where I feel that.
Yeah, and I understand that.
It's discouraging, extremely discouraging.
Is there a way that you could execute and deliver the responses to the LinkedIn messages where you wouldn't feel that way?
That your question makes me think about how I've been meaning to create like a strategy document with a bunch of like canned replies and pre-planned replies that I can copy and paste and only send if it's like relevant to that situation. But I haven't like taken the time or the day to just sit down and like make that document. I always feel like taking the time to make the document sometimes is like taking time away from me actually sending the messages, right? And like creating more content, things of that nature. So I think that's one really easy thing I can do. It's a matter of doing it, I guess.
All right. So that's an activity. Let's talk more about the feeling. So what I know is true is that our feelings are created by our thinking and not what's happening outside of us. And so I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
So this is and I know because I've seen your activity on LinkedIn. So is it true that you feel discouraged and feel like a pinball all day, every day?
No, it's probably 1 to 2 days a week for like a 3 to 4 hour period.
Okay.
That this will happen. So it's
so there are times I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So there are times where, what are some other feelings that you have with the same circumstances where you're getting these messages from? Maybe do you ever have feelings that you're energized and excited about them?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when I get them, it's very energizing and exciting. But then it comes with this secondary like thought. It's like I've got to actually keep up and respond and maintain this relationship. So I feel like I should be grateful for that, I guess. But it often just leads to stress.
Does it always lead to stress?
No, it doesn't.
I didn't think so. In my experience, it doesn't. And the reason is when we attach, when my experience, when I attach meaning to or energy to a thought, and in this case, the thought is, I've got all of these messages, people that I need to respond, comments and likes and acknowledgments that I need to respond to, and I have this other work that I need to do, and this and that. So that is purely our, in this case, your thinking that's going in that direction. Where what I know is true is if we have a thought like, oh, I've got all of these messages coming in, and once we realize that our mind is taking us down a path of thinking on thinking on thinking, the act of just understanding that you're thinking can often just bring you back. What I found for me is that it always now brings me back to saying, oh, well, that's just my thinking. And when we release that helps us to release that thought and give us space to come up with a solution. Because when we're thinking and thinking and thinking on thinking on thinking,
Yeah.
we can never come up with a solution. Have you ever had a situation where you've thought so much about something you've come up with an answer for it?
I don't think so. Like,
when have the inspirations come to you?
well, for me, like on my walks usually, or just randomly. Like when I'm in bed, which I recently put a whiteboard next to my bed, so when I do have a good idea, I try to release it. But yeah, never when I sit down and I'm just like, I'm gonna come up with a good idea right now. never then.
Because I know you, and I know you're creative enough to find out a solution to time management.
Yeah.
The rest of it is just thinking. And I say just thinking. It's thinking. It's what we do as humans. We think and we think and we think. But when we create space, that's when magic happens.
How can I create space?
By understanding that that when you get into a situation that you were describing where you feel overwhelmed, that is thinking. That helps you eventually. It takes some practice, but as you realize that that's thinking, what's happened with me is I've started to say, oh, that's thinking. And once you realize it's thinking, it enables you, it's like a ticker tape. When you're looking at the news, you know, you got the stock ticker tape at the bottom of the screen. Mm-hmm. So that ticker tape is always running in our brain.
Yeah.
And once you realize it's a ticker tape and it's thinking, that is what ends up providing you the space, because you'll release that thought. The thought will thoughts, that's what they do. They go. They come and they go. And we can't really, I've not figured out a way how to control thinking. We're always thinking. But what you can do is realize that it is thought. And by doing that, that is what creates a space.
I think what you've helped me realize I need to do is if I do feel that, which I'm sure I will over the next few days or weeks, well, first of all, take note of it and just be like, all right, I'm feeling this right now. And yeah, maybe go for a quick walk. I don't know, just like walk outside, try to clear my mind and come back with like a renewed sense of like, all right, I'm not going to let this feeling like actually be a roadblock to me initiating work and getting stuff done. And try to let it pass. I don't know. Does that sound?
I think that's a great strategy that for you, you may find out 2 minutes into your walk that you've just figured out your answer to how you manage the LinkedIn responses and other social media responses, how you fit that into your day.
Yeah.
But when we're, I'd mentioned there are 3 components to thought. It's thought, mind, and consciousness. And we've been talking about thinking. Mind is our wisdom that will come in. It's that energy that's greater than, it's that energy that's out there. It's that energy that creates. And then consciousness. And when we're in that, what you were describing as a low level of consciousness, it's really hard to make decisions when we have those negative thoughts in our head and we're at that low consciousness area or low awareness of what's going on around us. But when you're walking, in your case, your consciousness rises, and that's when better thinking comes into our head.